Hey guys, welcome back to Beauty Nomad and to the last video that I filmed at home in Canada before I headed down under to Australia for my next Beauty Nomad destination. Since it's the depths of a cold winter in Canada, I thought I would do a much more dark and dramatic look involving a really vampy lip color and some thick dramatic wings on the eyes. Because it is so heavy on my eyes and lips, I'm not going to really wear any foundation in this look and keep the rest of the face simple. Keep watching to see how I did this makeup. So I've prepped my skin with a heavier moisturizer as my already dry skin gets even more dried out in the winter, and I've got on a good dose of under eye cream as well. So I'm just going to jump in with my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer in Ginger under the eyes. When I know I'm not going to be wearing a foundation, I like to conceal and highlight in pretty big swatches around my face to substitute for foundation and get evened out coverage. So that means under the eyes, down my nose, around the corners of my nose, onto the center of my forehead, and on wherever there might be blemishes or dark marks that need to be covered. This concealer is such a makeup artist favorite because the coverage is so full and brilliant without ever being heavy or cakey. Okay, next, as a little bit of a cheat, to both set down that concealer but to act as a tiny bit of a lighter foundation, I'm going to be using my Bare Minerals Original Powder in Medium Tan, just on a smaller, rounded, fluffy brush. A great tip I learned from one of the trainers at Bare Minerals was that instead of just dusting this powder on in sweeping motions, which creates this like big cloud of powder going everywhere, you're kind of better off just dabbing and rolling it onto your skin first before starting to work it in sweeps, because that way it just kind of really gets patted onto your primer or your concealer or whatever you already have on the skin and clings to that, not just like dusted on unevenly and going everywhere. Okay, now for my brows, which are an utter grown out disaster. I basically haven't plucked them or threaded them in weeks because I just haven't had time. So they've grown out like crazy and look like two completely different shapes and sizes. So I have a great trick for making them look a lot more even, but it does involve creating a much thicker brow shape. So only proceed with this trick if you're happy to have a thicker brow. So essentially it involves creating lines both above and below my brow where they're a bit gappy and then filling them in. When I say gappy, I don't mean the kind of gappy where your brows are just naturally sparse, but gappy because all these new hairs have grown in where I normally have them plucked, so outside of the boundary of where my brow shape is essentially. And then once I create this new boundary of lines around them, I just begin to fill the whole thing in. So those hairs sort of end up incorporated within the newer, thicker brow shape, if that makes any sense. Once I have one brow done, I can use it as a template to shape the thickness of the other brow. Even though the hairs are growing in all kinds of different directions and the shape is totally different on this brow, like underneath, you can see how I'm sculpting it to match the other brow. And once I'm done, I'm just going to step back and check my work and adjust accordingly to make sure they both basically match up. So as you can see, I'm just touching up the brow underneath on the first one to make sure it's just as thick as the other one. Okay, perfect, I'm done with my brows. Now, because I'm not wearing any eyeshadow in this look, because that liner is going to be so thick, I'm just going to prep my eyes with this primer. It's the by Terry Hylauronic Eye Primer in Nude. I'm just going to use this to help brighten up my lids and ensure that that liner really sticks smoothly. Onto the wing. I'm going to use this Wet n Wild Megaliner in black, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself a really dramatic thick wing. If you want a detailed lesson on how to make a really dramatic wing, check out my extensive thick wing liner tutorial that I did from Cuba using the same product. You can click on the info button up here or check the link in the description box. Sorry I keep moving so far away from the camera here. I was trying to see what I was doing in my mirror and that was placed a little bit too far away from the shot. But essentially what I did was create an outline of the shape and then I just went in and filled it in. To keep things really neat, I cleaned things up with some makeup remover on a cotton tip in the end. Now I'm ready for some mascara, so I'm just using my extra Lash Sculpting Mascara from Mercier and whacking on a good dose of that. Okay, now it's time to sculpt out some cheeks, so I'm doing that with my Stila Stay All Day Bronzer in Dark and my Ida brush from Nars. Once all my contour lines are in and, like under my cheekbones and such, I'm going to take the same small fluffy brush that I'd used to apply my mineral powder and buff those lines out. Because there's still going to be a bit of that mineral powder clinging to the brush, it's really going to help soften things out and harmonize the colors in this look. Even though I said I wanted to keep things simple on my face because the eye and lip are so heavy in this look, now that I step back and look, I think I actually could use some color on the cheeks. So I'm using this beautiful plummy pink from Nars called Almeira, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap that onto the apples of my cheeks to get a really nice flush going on there. I'll also tap it up right at the hairline to get some color uniformity across the face and blend it down everywhere. Okay, so to add a bit more glam to the eyes, I'm using this beautiful bright gold kohl liner from by Terry on the waterline, just to bring more sparkle to the eye and for something fun. And now I'm finally ready for lips. So I'm using one of my favorite dark dramatic liners from MAC. This one is called Night Moth, and I'm going to go ahead and use this to line the natural contours of my lips. I'm not going to overline or anything because, well, to be honest, I'm just not really a big fan of that trend, but if you do want to make your lips look a bit bigger, go for it. Just be a bit careful and go slow when you're working with dark dramatic colors. So like I said, I'm just sticking to within my lips and then drawing in a few definition lines to help plump them out because I'm not overlining. These lines can help to make the lips look a bit bigger and poutier, especially if you're going to use a lighter color lipstick over the top. And then a hint of those lines will just come through. But honestly, I'm using such a dark color of lipstick. This is Charlotte, I believe, from the Audacious line from Nars. Those lines aren't even going to come through that So much. To make the liner pop a bit more, I'm just going to go ahead and line over the lipstick a little bit. And then I'm going to clean up any smudges with a cotton tip with some makeup remover. I was just being a bit lazy and using the same pre-soaked one that I'd used before on my eye, but using the clean side of the swab, obviously. I'm just going to blot to seal in the color and add a bit more lippy over the top to make the color nice and rich again, because I felt that blotting took out a bit too much. And there you have it, my really vampy, dramatic lip and eye look for winter. I would totally wear this look to holiday parties or clubs with like more straightened out hair. But for now, I'm just rocking my curls and this leather shirt that I got from an Australian store called Sports Girl. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Leave me a comment to let me know what you think, and please hit that subscribe button to help support my channel and let me know that you would like me to keep making videos. But it's ciao for now, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!